Yesterday, Trump got convicted, so today I woke up to this. It is very unnatural to see that people are searching for politics more than they search for boobs. They like to say everything is about politics, but it's wrong. Everything is about boobs. Except today. Today it's different. Now, some people will say justice have been done. Others will say that it's political. How do you know which is which? Well, depending on which party they belong to. If they're a Democrat, yes, justice has been done. If they're a Republican, this has been political. With a couple of minorities here and there that break away from the mold, but overwhelmingly, no, I do understand why people would think this way. You cannot convict an American president, especially so closely to the election, and then have AOC going around in public saying, well, the process works for us because he can't be campaigning because he has to be in court, and not have people view this as a political hit job. Like, it's impossible. Of course, again, the Democrats, no, they don't see a political hit job. They will see it, however, when the Republicans will do it. Like, if the Republicans do it, then it will be a political hit job. But anyway, what does it actually mean, though? Like, what does it mean that he got convicted? Is he going to serve jail time? Well, it's up to the judge. Normally, if the person has convicted a non-violent offense, and if it's the first time that they did it, then chances are that they would just have to pay a fine or be under house arrest. But this is not a normal situation, right? It's not a normal case. I think like Ben Shapiro had an entire segment where he goes into the trial and he explains the problems he has with it. I won't do that because there's people that are far more knowledgeable in American law than I am, which have done a better job. But I do think the judge may pass a harsher sentence, which could include jail time. Now, the question is, what would happen if it's jail time? Can Trump still run? The answer is yes. Yes, he can. In fact, there has been precedent in the United States where two people have ran for presidency, although unsuccessfully, from within bars. So it is actually possible for a person that has been convicted to run for president. Now here's the interesting part. What if he wins? That's a good question. Like, okay, so he's behind bars, he wins, he becomes president. Well, he can't go to the White House, right? Because he's in jail. So what does he do? Some people said that, well, he can pardon himself. Like, being the United States president, he would have the authority to pardon people, so therefore he can pardon himself and thus get out of jail. Apparently he can't. This is the funny part. I looked into the legislation. Again, if someone has more knowledge of the American system than I do, I understand that he cannot pardon himself. The only person that can pardon him is the New York governor. So in this situation, it would be up for the governor to decide whether or not to pardon Donald Trump. I generally don't know what will happen. I literally don't. I mean, it's the Democrats we're talking about. So if the American people were to elect him as president, I mean, in a normal and sane situation, you would pardon him, but I genuinely don't know. So if he doesn't get pardoned, then what? Well, it would make running America quite difficult, but if Joe Biden can do it, then I think like a man behind bars can do it as well. It would be hilarious, definitely, and it would also matter who the vice president is, because in that situation, I genuinely think that the vice president would be able to have a lot of authority. I would definitely see it like a Joe Biden situation, really, where the president is not really there, but like things are getting done, right? So again, it would be who is behind the scenes pulling the strings. It would be very difficult, but still, America would probably become the laughing nation of the world. Like, everyone would be like, okay, so you have the president behind bars? Like, really? It would be incredibly funny. Like, don't get me wrong. It would be a precedent in human history. I do think, like, history books would write about it. It would be like the president from within the prison. Interesting times to live in. So, yeah, I actually, a part of me, I'm not going to lie, would like to see this happen. Like, because I'm generally curious, like, what will happen. The other thing is, like, okay, so now he got convicted. Now he is in prison. There would also be the problem with, like, what do you do with the Secret Service? because the Secret Service has to follow him everywhere. So in this situation, I don't think like they would be in the cell with him, but it would cause some logistical problems due to the fact that they can't just carry weapons while on the courtyard. And again, it's like he would be the actual US president if he wins, right? So what happens if there's a riot? Can even the Secret Service even keep him safe in that situation? Now again, it's up to the New York governor. I mean, theoretically, arrangements could be made for such a peculiar situation where you construct a prison just for the U.S. president to sit in. I've no clue what will happen. I don't think that the lawmakers know either. Again, no one even thought about this thing, but I expect that the Secret Service would actually go to the prison and they wouldn't be locked up in a cell with him. But they would have a rotation. Like, everyone goes there, stays for 8 hours, and then you have, like, the new guys coming in, and the first ones going out. No clue. Absolutely no clue whatsoever. But what I do know, however, is that he is most likely going to appeal. And these are the very impartial judges which are going to preside over his appeal. Yes, these are the judges from one of the bluest states in the US, which I'm very certain they're going to give him a fair trial. I mean, but anyway, let's talk about the now. What's happening? Well, apparently his donation page actually went down because so many people were accessing it. They didn't even expect to have this level of traffic. He's going to use this in his campaign, obviously, and I'm going to see how much he gets up in the polls. And the thing is, like, it's not that you will have Democrats that are going to be like, well, you know, I was going to vote for Joe Biden, but seeing this is going to change my vote. Like, I don't think there's going to be that many people like that. However, what we are going to see is people who wouldn't have voted, who don't care about politics, who are looking at this and they're finding it a little bit concerning. And I have seen many people like that, you know, people that were not interested in going up to vote. They will be like, well, this is a little bit unfair. This is a shit show. Like, what are they doing, you know? So those are the individuals that will vote. Plus, as you can see, like, a lot of rich people are now throwing in their cash to Donald Trump because of this whole fiasco, crashing his donation page. But more interestingly, it actually does set the precedent because up until now, usually the politics in the United States weren't like Eastern Europe. Like, this is some Eastern European shit. We do this all the time with our politicians. Oh, someone manages to get popular in the polls? Well, let's look into him. Like, has he not committed anything remotely criminal ever? And oh, look, well, we just found something that he may have. Well, you know what they say? The process is the punishment. So let's keep him up with legalese. Let's like focus a lot of lawsuits and a lot of stuff on him until the election passed. They didn't do this in America. Like, this is Eastern European. This is our culture. And they're appropriating it now. So I do expect some of it in the future. And I do expect that the Republicans at some point will do it. And they will justify this particular scenario when they do it. I would like to remind you that it already happened in a similar situation where the Democrats removed the filibuster. And then Mitch McConnell said, you're going to regret this in the future. Because at the time they removed the filibuster in order to disadvantage the Republicans, which were in the minority. But during the Trump era, when you had a nomination on the Supreme Court, the Democrats would have loved the filibuster. Oh, it just wasn't there. It was an institution that they could use in that particular situation. So, yeah, Mitch McConnell basically said, well, I told you. It's like what you did. They don't understand that when you do this, you set a precedent that can be used against you in the future. Because there are certain times when people generally don't think about behaving in a specific manner. They're like, well, we just don't do this, right? Like, it's kind of like, you know, kids on the playground play fighting, and they're like, well, we don't hit each other in the balls, right? Like, we just, a common thing, no one says it, but like, everyone knows it. Like, even though you could achieve an easy victory, you just don't do it. And then you have the kid that does it, and then, you know, the others people do it to that kid, and now everyone is doing it. It's basically what's going on here, but in the realm of politics, if you want. We'll see how this ends up. Again, I would find it absolutely hilarious if he goes to prison and he gets elected as president. I'm genuinely curious as what's going to happen, especially if he doesn't get pardoned. Like, that would be the most interesting scenario. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.